Morning. It's Friday, December 4th. And I saw something this morning about LeBron James getting $85 million for 2 more years of playing for the Lakers. And another player was getting $165 million for 5 years for the same team. So obviously the Los Angeles Lakers are making a lot of money, however they make money. And they make it in many different ways. And I was going to rant about that this morning. But after getting started on that rant, I realized it was really a terrible rant. So I'm going to leave you, and I'm not going to talk about the basketball thing and about the reason that these guys make a lot of money and how they make it and whatever, because I really don't care about that much. And especially don't care about basketball that much because my team, the Knickerbockers, has sucked for many years because of poor management and everything. But I do want to talk about this bill. So I'm back on politics, and I really am getting tired of talking about politics. But I want to talk about this defense spending bill that has come up. And this is a case where the president wants certain things in that bill, and top Republicans have joined the Democrats and are against putting those things in the bill and taking some things out of the bill. So I want to talk about that for a while. So our president wants to use the upcoming defense bill for leverage on big tech. He's upset with big tech because they have censored him on occasion, and they have challenged him in many ways that he cannot accept. You know he cannot accept the challenge. That's why he's still ranting about ballot fraud and everything else. So, as most of you probably know, there's a federal law called Section 230. And Section 230 protects large companies, tech companies, such as Facebook and Twitter and Google, from being sued because they have taken some action against something that was put on their sites. And they felt that it was inappropriate. So they were protected from those kinds of suits. And the president, because they have used their right to censor what people have put on the sites. And he has been censored several times. So because of that, he wants to eliminate Section 230 from the law. And he wanted it put into this defense bill. And these top Republicans object to that. They said this Section 230 has nothing to do with defense. And therefore, they didn't want to put it in the bill, and that position has annoyed the president, and he threatened to veto the bill. So if he's going to veto the defense spending bill, that's a serious thing. That's a $740 billion bill that we issue every single year to keep our armed services up to snuff. So threatening to veto the defense bill is a big deal. And for the first time, I don't know whenever, that top Republicans challenge Trump on an action that he wants to take. And it's not that the Republicans really want to defend Section 230. Many of them want to do away with Section 230. But they don't think it's appropriate to do it in this bill. They think you need a separate bill that shouldn't be tied to anything like the annual defense spending bill. And this is a typical thing that happens in Washington. And many bills get an earmark, what they call an earmark, something that goes into the bill that has nothing to do with the bill. Because maybe the senator in Wyoming needs to have a dam built or something, and he convinces some of the other senators to put a couple $1 $100 million in the bill that has nothing to do with dams in Wyoming. And it passes. So this is an unusual action that these Republicans are taking. There's another thing in this bill that's upsetting the president. This bill has a section in it in which they want to strip away the Confederate names for all of those forts around the country that were given names for heroes of the Confederacy. And President Trump opposes the name changes. So he doesn't want that in the bill. And that's another reason why he threatened to veto this bill. He threatened that bill because he wants those Confederate names to remain in place, basically. And that, I think, is a dumb thing. I don't think that belongs in the bill either, one way or the other. I think if that's a separate item, that shouldn't be in this bill either way. But I'm glad that these Republicans have the gumption to say, we're not doing these changes for you. And especially in this time, in his presidency. This is the last gasp for him. It's the last gasp before he figures out who to pardon. How many pardons to give out. And see, now I'm ranting about stuff that's way out of whack, right? This is the first time in 60 years that there has been a conflict over the defense spending bill. For 59 straight years, the members of Congress and the presidents of both parties have set aside their differences and put the needs of military personnel and America's security first. This bill is one thing that the lawmakers take great pride in passing, and they take pride in passing it every year. It is a rare thing that a major bill is seen as must pass, because it governs everything from pay raises for the service members to how many aircraft we should own, how many missiles we should own, how many ships should be purchased, and how to best compete with Russia and China and the rest of the threat to U.S. democracy around the world. So this is a must-pass piece of legislation. And so for 59 years, no president has dicked around with it, and no members of Congress have dicked around with it. But of course, we now have the clown prince of presidents, and he's dicking around with it, because he has no sense of history, no sense of what is considered the norm. And if there ever was anything that was considered the norm, it's this major bill. And this Congress is running out of time, because they only have till the end of the year to get this bill passed. And they don't want to be the ones to break the 59-year streak. So I think somebody's got to get into the president's ear and say, you can't do this. I don't know who would do that. I don't know who he would listen to. He'd probably try to fire the guy that came to him and said that to him. So in any event, we'll just wait and see what happens. But it's very important. It's very important for two things. First of all, we must pass this bill. And second of all, it's the first opportunity to keep this president in check and let him go out like the true loser he is. So that's it for today, and I will see you again in the morning. Bye.